So I don't trust this front office to build a contender around Cade Cunningham. Dude, I was hurt. We were just talking about this a second ago when I saw that clip of him walking back to the bench during the Utah Jazz game where he looked visibly upset. Like he just looked like he was done. Like he was going to pack his bags and just go back to college and just say, dude, someone else redraft me. It was just so bad. But that was that moment right there. And I said it last week on the podcast where if this is still the front office going into this offseason, I don't see Cade Cunningham ever winning in Detroit in a Pistons uniform. Like I just don't see it because, dude, the rebuild hasn't gone. We're essentially in year one when it comes to the rebuild, and I just don't see how this front office does it and actually builds a contender around Cade. But what do you think? Do you actually think this front office could build a competitive team around Cade?
It's hard to say, really, because I haven't seen it. Like, I believe Troy's first year before the Pistons did land the number 1 overall pick, he goes out and he trades for Jeremy Grant, a sign and trade. He goes out and gets Mason Plumlee. Like, that was probably the most active I ever saw him. I was like, okay, Jeremy Grant, good player. Mason Plumlee at the time was a serviceable backup. Was okay defensively, could run a dribble handoff offense. I don't know, man. It's just like, could he build a team around Cade? Sure. The front office told the fans this summer that they wanted to evaluate this team because they didn't feel like there was a free agent this past summer that really moved the needle for them. And if you look at free agency this summer, it's actually worse. And there was a clip by Arntelm that I had posted this week, and that's basically what he said. And Arntelm's, a high-level executive with Tom Gores and Troy Weaver. And, Tom Gores said, the only two people that are making those kind of decisions are me and Troy, which I personally don't buy. I think Arn does have a say. He's a really high-level executive for the Pistons. He's a VP of the organization. I trust Troy if they let him do his job and not meddle and ask him why he's going to do this, why is he going to do that. But I think he would have to make moves like he did on draft night. He would have to make moves like he did his first year here in Detroit at free agency. Try to get guys, try to get vets to build around Cade, try to get some 3-and-D wings, try to get some perimeter shooting, get a veteran big man to back up Duran, get some vets that can help this team win and also contribute to winning. I think you can do it in the trade market and free agency, but I don't really know if we're going to get that. Troy's going to get that chance. It's so conflicting. Like, are you going to let him right this ship because he did create this mess? Or are you going to fire him at the end of the year? Like, if they're going to fire him at the end of the year, I'd rather them do it now rather than him make trades and then set this team back a little bit farther.
Yeah, I can't agree with you anymore. I think you said it perfectly. I just don't know what Troy is waiting for as a GM. Like I said it last week too. I just feel like they're in this process level Sixers moment right now where they're just hoping they're bad enough every single year to get a high lottery pick and they can find a superstar to lead this team. Like they're looking for the next Joel Embiid or something like that. I don't know if they're going to find that guy this year in this draft. It doesn't seem like it. I was talking to a client today too that he thinks the Pistons are tanking and being so bad so they have a chance of drafting Cooper Flagg. But it's like, dude, you're going to waste 3 more years of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Duran for a chance at a guy that you probably don't even get.
They did that with Victor last year. It didn't pan out.
No, it didn't. And I mean, I was one of the guys that thought, you heard me on this podcast, that we were going to win 28 to 32 wins. I thought healthy Bojan, healthy Cade, Jaden Ivey taking another step as a basketball player, Jalen Duren taking another step as a basketball player, Monte Morris coming to the Pistons, Joe Harris coming to the Pistons. I thought that was a pretty good nucleus of players right there where you were actually showing me as a fan that you were ready to compete in Cade's third year in the NBA, that you were really going to take a step forward. But none of the moves have worked out. You've been silent. I don't even know if Troy's at the games.
And he is.
Okay, good, because they don't show him on the Jumbotron, it seems like. Every time last year you always saw him at the games. But anyways, it's just I don't trust this. I just don't trust the front office. I just don't. I don't see Troy riding the ship. I think it's going to be another guy that comes in. And I'm nervous about another guy coming in because what if he's just like, dude, I don't like this young core. I'm just going to break it all up. And even though I've talked about that a few times on this podcast, but they have moments together on the floor where you're like, maybe this could work. You know, maybe we should give these guys a little bit more of a chance to see if they can gel. But you need to have other pieces around them. And again, like I said, I don't see Troy doing it. And I don't know if that's Troy's fault or if it's the other guys in the front office handcuffing him so he can't make those decisions. But I'm also with you. Like, if maybe Troy's not really the GM we thought he was, does he deserve an opportunity to fix this mess? And there also is a thought like maybe he makes it worse.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to say something, and people might laugh at it. I don't honestly think Troy has full control of what he actually does. I just don't. I think Tom is very involved in, like, if you own a team, you obviously want to be involved in some level. I'm not giving Troy a pass either. I think some of the moves he's made, they don't really make sense at times. But I don't really think he has like full reign of what he wants to do. Like when the front office told fans that they want to evaluate this team, I was all like, okay, fine, you can evaluate this team. That's cool. But not doing a single thing in free agency. Like, yeah, you traded for Monte Morris, who's a good backup point guard, but we haven't seen him play basketball yet. And he might not even play basketball. He might be on the trade block. Who knows? He's on the last year of a deal. You trade for Joe Harris, who, you know, statistically, if you look throughout his career, good 3-point shooter, but like he hasn't really shot the ball like you want him to. And like defensively, it's just a mess.
Yeah.
I think my biggest issue is you could have gone out. I'm not saying, you know, go do what the Rockets did and spend like huge amounts of money. But I've told you before, like, what do you think it would have cost to get like maybe a Kelly Oubre? Like, you're not going to get him for a vet's minimum, but maybe a mid-level exception around that 10 million price point. Like, I would be okay with that. I would be okay. Like, you're going to give Kelly Oubre 10 million for a year to see if it works, see if he can contribute. And he's having a hell of a season right now with the Philadelphia 76ers. I feel like you can evaluate this team, but you can still add pieces that complement your core players. You added veterans that are on the last year of their deal, and I don't really think Joe Harris compliments anyone on this roster when you already have a sharpshooter in Alec Burks. I don't really think there was a need for a Joe Harris on this team. If anything, you just helped Brooklyn re-sign Cam Johnson. I know a lot of Pistons fans wanted Cam Johnson. Monte Morris, I get from the standpoint of you wanted to improve the backup point guard position, but he hasn't played. I don't know if he's going to play a single game in a Piston uniform with the trade deadline, officially open now. You can make trades up until February. So that's just like my take on it. Like, I think Troy is the GM, but I don't really think he has full say or full reign what he can actually do. I think he can make a trade if he wants to, but maybe Tom Gores doesn't like that guy. Maybe Tom Gores doesn't feel like he's really a piece that can help this team win. Like in that article, he just mentioned about cap flexibility. And if I hear cap flexibility one more damn time, bro, I swear I'm going to punch a wall. Like, don't throw cap flexibility to me like it's this big flex and, oh, we got cap flexibility. We're waiting to make a move. Like, what are you waiting for? A superstar just to land in your lap? It's not going to happen. You have to eventually sign players to help this team win. If you're just going to sign these vets in the last year of the deal, you're going to be 8, 9, 10 years down the road, and you're still going to be rebuilding. All the players that you drafted in the top 5 are going to need rookie scale extensions, and you're probably going to have to make a decision which one you actually want. Like, I'm just over this cap flexibility thing that they try to sell the fans because it's just pure bullshit, man. Like, actually use your cap space. Like, commit to somebody. Like, do something. Like, I'm sick of seeing Cade look like he just doesn't want to be here anymore. Like, his body language, I get he's doing everything he can, and they're still losing. Like, that Jazz game, he did everything he could, and they still lost. The night after that, like he was playing good basketball. He almost had triple-double. They had obviously 6 turnovers, but they still lost. Like, I feel bad for the guy. Like, actually build around your first overall pick and try to help him succeed. Don't make his life more fucking difficult.
Dude, he also had the 43-point game, and I don't think they were close to winning that game. It was crazy. And, man, you said so much, too.
I'm sorry, man. I'm so sped up.
No, you're good, and it was great. It was perfect. It's just, like I said earlier, I was okay with the minimal moves because you wanted to evaluate the roster, but I didn't think we'd be playing 10, 11 guys every single game. I thought the rotation would be like 9 guys, the 9 guys you wanted to evaluate. I thought they were going to help him take the Pistons to another level. I don't know. But, man, looking back to last offseason and not doing anything and just sticking with this roster and then being proud that you have 7 or 8 guys that are under the age of 22 or whatever Tom Gore said. And it's just, okay, but they're not doing anything and they're not winning. You're putting them all in a terrible position, and who cares if they're young? Because once they establish a culture of losing, it doesn't matter. So I'm over it. Like I said, I don't believe in this front office, and change is coming. But again, we're in probably for another 3-4 years of this losing basketball and just watching Cade potentially put up, good to great numbers, maybe even flirt with being an all-star for a couple of seasons. And then for what? Just to see him get traded when he's 28, 29 years old, go to a playoff team, and then watch him have this. He's basically Matthew Stafford. That's what it seems like. And why does this keep happening in Detroit? It sucks.
You know what? Like, I get when Troy got here, the message was to accumulate talent, and they have that. Okay. My fear, and we'll move on after this next point.
Yeah.
My fear is they're going to accumulate so much top 5 picks that they're going to trade a bulk of them away for that quote unquote, big fish that this front office keeps trying to sell fans. Like, Devin Booker isn't going to land in your lap, right? Like, I don't know who the hell they're waiting for, dude. I really don't. Like, you can sign players. Like, yeah, people are like, oh, no one wants to come here. You're probably right. You're not going to get like a Luka Doncic, a Giannis. You're not getting those star players. You can get lower to mid-tier guys to come here. You really can. Because at the end of the day, the paycheck is the same.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know if Troy's going to get fired. Like that article from The Athletic was really conflicting. Like, they say they want to make changes, but at the same time, it seems like they just want to dip their toe in the water and they just don't want to, dive in and actually make change. It feels like just like, oh, look, we traded Alec Burks for a 2nd-round pick. Hey, we did something. Like, I think this team and this organization needs to look themselves in the mirror and say, enough is enough. Look, we have to do something.
Yeah.
26 losses in a row. You tied the tanking 76ers and the Cavs. You're about to break a record from the tanking 76ers that was 28 games over a 2-season span. You're about to do it in 1 season. There's debates out there right now saying, are the Detroit Pistons the worst team in NBA history? Like, if I'm an owner, dude, I'm doing something. I'm making a trade. I'm asking my GM, like, why didn't we do anything? Why? Like, what is this? 26 losses in a row? You're okay with that? You got to do something, man. Like, fans are pissed off. Even I've seen kind of like a shift in media. Media's starting to be like, you know what? Like, enough's enough.
Yep.
These fans don't deserve it. They spend their hard-earned money at games. Someone said the Pistons are 15th in attendance. You give them a winner, dude, they're like top 5. And they're 15th in attendance with a 26-game losing streak right now. Like, what? I'm done, man. I'm done on this topic. I know I went off. I'm frustrated with this shit. Something has to change. Obviously, he's not going to sell the team because he donates to charity or some bullshit like that. I don't know, man. Like, I'm just so over this shit.